formalized and not left on an ad hoc basis. I hope you'll work with the committee and the other interested parties, because Ngong really loved Benga. And for your information, Ngong, I think I paid his school fees for at the University of Nairobi on the instructions of the late Raila Amolo Odinga, and we actually created that constituency for him specifically. Thank you very much.
Last, Honorable Ambassador Sigei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this rare opportunity to join my colleagues and congratulate
Member for Bomet Central, say governmental partnership agreement between national government through
and wish him well. Mr. Speaker, as you may have seen in the media, it was one of the cruising battle in Emurua Dikir. We want to thank the late Ngeno posthumously for doing a very good job. And I want to ask and request the new MP to serve the people of Emurua Dikir without any partiality. I want to wish him well. He is my neighbor. I'm always there for him, and we will work together. I want to wish him well. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 26th May 2026. One is a report on the budget and of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on its consideration of the Senate amendments to the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2026. 2 is legal notice number 78 of 2026 relating to the tariffs for healthcare services amendment regulations of 2026, and the explanatory memorandum, regulatory impact statement, the consolidated written submissions matrix, and report of the public participation and stakeholder engagement from the Ministry of Health. 3 is amendment of Article 10, Sub-Article 4 of the Constitution of the African Civil Aviation Commission, AFCAC, from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Diaspora Affairs. 4 is the annual report of insurance industry for the year ended 31st December 2024 from the National Treasury. 5 is the intergovernmental partnership agreement between national government through the Ministry of Education and the county government of Bomet. 6, intergovernmental partnership agreement between the national government through the Ministry of Education and the county government of Elgeyo Marakwet. 7 is report of the third quarter of the National Government Constituency Development Fund for the financial year 2025-2026. 8 is the annual report of the Teacher Service Commission for the financial year 2024-2025. And 9, report of the Auditor General on the citizens' accountability on the implementation of the Green Zones Development Support Project, Phase 2. And finally, 10 is the 2024-2025 annual report of the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay all these papers on the table of the House. And with your indulgence, allow me to also welcome the Honorable Keter, the new member for Emurua Dikir, aka Dollar Line, to the National Assembly. And to tell Honorable Keter, you indeed have huge shoes to fit into those of our former colleague and former chair of the Housing Committee, and as the representative of the people of Emurua Dikir. Very good people from Emurua Dikir, and I know Honorable Keter because I did campaign for Honorable Keter as a member for Bomet Central, saying he has Bomet East. The Honorable Keter has made several attempts to get into this house, and I was among his chief campaigners in 2017 when he narrowly lost in Emurua Dikir to the Honorable Johanna Ngeno. And in fact, I must congratulate Honorable Keter or Dollar Line, because this is the first election in Emurua Dikir to have such a huge margin. The first one in the history of Emurua Dikir constituency. All previous elections from 2007, I think when this constituency came into being, have been won with a very narrow margin, always of between 1,700 votes. I think the 2013. Yes. not 2007. Yes, 2007, it was a larger Kilgoris constituency. And successively, the margin has always been less than 2,000 votes. So, Honorable Keter, the huge margin that you won this election is testament to the confidence that the people of Emurua Dikir have in you, that in this 1 year plus before the next general elections, you will work and work hard for them. And we wish you all the best, and we will be there to support you. Honorable Speaker, finally, allow me to also welcome, on behalf of the House, all the students that you have welcomed to the House, and particularly those from the Alliance Girls High School, who I know, Honorable Speaker, I do not know why Millie, the two whips, the minority whip and the majority whip, the Honorable Millie and Osoro, are insisting that the girls from the Alliance Girls High School have left. They are behind here waiting for the Member of Parliament for Kikuyu constituency to take a photo moment with them and buy them lunch, yes. Honorable Speaker, because these are our children, and this school hosts students from every corner of this country, Honorable Speaker, being a national school. And therefore, it is not a school that belongs to Kikuyu constituency.
Yes,
it's a school.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, actually, from wherever I was, I came running because I was listening to the proceedings online. And I could only hear, because we were talking about Alliance Olkalau and another girls' school from Ukambani. But the only people who are talking are men, Mr. Speaker. And I want to also just say that is it in order that Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah wants to keep boasting about Alliance. It just happens to be in his constituency, but his village. But even my own constituency has people in Alliance, but we say.
He's just said so. And on the issue of no women welcoming the students, the Speaker does not prod anybody to speak. And no lady MP volunteered or sought the attention of the Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for seemingly defending me, because if Honorable Millie was listening, I was just appreciating that Alliance Girls High School hosts girls and students from across the entire Republic of Kenya. It is actually about the only school you will find a child from almost every constituency. This school has challenges, Honorable Speaker, because last year alone, they admitted an additional 600 girls. In fact, when Alliance High School was celebrating...
Honorable Ichung'wah, I am a living witness.
Yes.
There is a boy from Bungoma who lives in Naivasha. His daughter got very high marks and was not selected anywhere.
Yes.
But she had chosen Alliance Girls as first choice. I bumped into this young man in Naivasha in one of our meetings. He came to me crying. I picked the phone, called the principal, and she told me, although the class is full, I'll take that one child. And she took the child.
Now,
and the girl is in Alliance, and I'm paying fees for her.
I think the House deserves to foot thump for the Honorable Speaker for sponsoring that girl from Naivasha to attend the Alliance Girls High School. And you know, the Member of Parliament for Naivasha may not even have had knowledge of this, Honorable Speaker. And you know, Honorable Speaker, it is good for you at times to step in, because it is not all your members, Honorable Speaker, who will have the empathy to sympathize. And you know, there are some members, Honorable Speaker, based on who they work with, who will think of where that girl came from. That girl's father came from Bungoma. So they will not even consider that girl for bursary. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for sponsoring that girl from Naivasha into the Alliance Girls High School. And I hope we can all do that, Honorable Speaker. But I was saying, this school, Honorable Speaker, last year alone admitted an additional 600 students. In fact, it has taken the intervention of His Excellency the President to help build new dormitories for them to be able to accommodate these extra numbers. And Honorable Speaker, all the schools, including the schools in the gallery now, the school from All Kalau, when they visit this house, Honorable Speaker, they visit us because they want to learn what we want to do in this house. And it is good that we are encouraging these young ones to come to the house. And I must thank you, Honorable Speaker, and the Commission for always availing the facilities for our students to come and learn, so that they do not fall into the temptation of some of their leaders today who are misinforming the country on what is going on, Honorable Speaker. I have seen leaders pretend that there is a finance bill in this house that does not exist. A finance bill, Honorable Speaker, I saw some, and you know, Honorable Speaker, it is sad when some are senior lawyers, some who have served in this house for a long time, pretend that the finance bill that is coming before the house, which is lined for first reading today, has provisions that are converting leasehold land to freehold land to leasehold and taxing land, Honorable Speaker. And I want to encourage Kenyans, just like these students are coming to learn, to take time and familiarize themselves with the provisions of what is contained in bills. And they are freely available on the parliamentary website, including the finance bill. Because I've seen a lot of misinformation on social media, Honorable Speaker. In fact, there is one person from KJ's constituency, I think it's called Kinothia Finya something, or Fanya nothing. Fanya nothing, I don't know. Who the member for Dagoretti South tells me that man is vying for an MCA seat, or vied for an MCA seat in Dagoretti South. And I saw him on a clip on social media telling Kenyans that all your freehold land will be converted into leasehold through the finance bill, and you start paying taxes for it. And you know, the finance bill has no such provision. And not just the finance bill, we have no bill before this house with any such provision. And I've seen a lot of things, Honorable Speaker. I saw another one today circulating something that they pretend to be the finance bill, and they even color code clauses that do not exist. And they're circulating them on TikTok. And now that's why, Honorable Speaker, I must thank all these schools that are bringing their students to the National Assembly, so that they understand when a bill comes for first reading, it is only the clerks on the table who read the bill, the title of the bill, first reading, and put it down. When the bill comes for second reading, we debate that bill as was published. You remember, Honorable Speaker, in 2024 during the finance bill, because of the misinformation and disinformation that had gone on, when we voted for second reading of the bill, many Kenyans believed that that was fait accompli, that bill had now passed, and nothing was ever going to change. Because Kenyans did not understand that we debate the bill as was published, informed by what Kenyans said during public participation, and we will then factor in what they said during public participation during committee of the whole, and finalize with the bill in the third reading. And I think, Honorable Speaker, it's good that we request the office of the clerk to at times allow these students to sit in a little bit longer. And I say that because, as Millie noted, the Alliance Girls students had left, so that they understand the entire process of lawmaking. So that when they see things on TikTok, they don't believe that's it. And they understand that this bill has a process. We'll go through the processes and motions of the House, Honorable Speaker. And I say that, Honorable Speaker, as I invite all Kenyans not to believe the disinformation, the propaganda that is all over on social media, and ask the Honorable Member for Dagoretti South, Honorable KJ, please go and educate that MCA aspirant in your constituency. I know you paid bursary for him. I would not ask you to recall the bursary, but at least I know you told me he was a paralegal who attempted to go to university and study law. At least in law school, you learn how to process bills through parliament, and you know how to read. At least educate him, and if maybe English is a problem, you can do it in Kikuyu. I know you speak very good Kikuyu, if he understands Kikuyu. Honorable Speaker, thank you.
Honorable members, yes, Junet.
Mr. Speaker, yes, I wanted to also add my voice to what the majority leader has raised. Mr. Speaker, but before that, Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to alert you that he has left the Honorable Kater, who has just been elected. I wanted to congratulate him before he went out. And I wanted to bring out how difficult it is to come to this house, Mr. Speaker. The other day I traveled to Bomet, and I met one of my colleagues, I don't want to mention his name, and he told his constituents, Mr. Speaker, in the last election, that if they don't elect him to parliament, he will die. So he was asking me, he was consulting me and asking me, what am I going to tell them in 2027? So I thought, I said, what you tell them, be like Jesus. Just tell them you have resurrected. You died, now you have come back for the second time. You are coming, he's a first-time member of parliament. I told them, just tell them you are coming back for the second time now. And you're going to heal all of them and make them happy. So, Mr. Speaker, that is just in terms of congratulating. But, Mr. Speaker, there are serious issues, and I'm happy we are back to session. There are serious issues that has been raised by the majority leader, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, tell Karuria to give you small time.
Yes.
We are discussing his matter of land leases and land buying companies. So, Mr. Speaker, there's a serious issue that has been raised by the majority leader of misinformation and disinformation that is going on in this country. Mr. Speaker, the mandate of legislation is with this House. There is no another person who can make laws in this country. And it's very important to tell Kenyans the truth that the finance bill that is before this House, that we have come back to this session to deal with it, is not the finance bill that is being discussed in public, Mr. Speaker. And anybody who wants to know what is contained in the finance bill should take a copy from Parliament so that they can understand. Or I mean on the website, even the parliamentary website. Mr. Speaker, there are people who are still stuck at the finance bill of 2024. There are people, very senior members of the society, some of them who want to become president, Mr. Speaker. Like my deputy, my majority leader's party leader, Honorable Kalonzo, who are telling Kenyans that land is going to be changed, all freehold land will be changed to leases, Mr. Speaker. I have not seen that kind of finance bill in this House. The last 2 weeks, I have been preparing for this session so that I come and contribute to the finance bill that has been tabled by Treasury. Mr. Speaker, those clauses are not in this finance bill. Very senior members of the society.
What the two of you are not saying
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
is that you cannot amend the Lands Act through the finance bill. You cannot.
You have even put it better.
The finance bill is not a miscellaneous law amendments bill.
Correct.
It's the finance bill.
Mr. Speaker, what happened, in fact, 2 years ago, Mr. Speaker, you can check the records of Parliament. There was a land amendment bill that was supposed to turn all freehold titles to leases that was sent here by the former Attorney General, my former Speaker, J.B. Muturi. And Parliament refused to publish that bill in their own wisdom under your leadership, Mr. Speaker. And he's the one now talking outside there, as if we want to change. He is the one as the Attorney General, and I have a copy of that. Hey.
I rejected it. Didn't go beyond my desk.
You rejected it. You didn't even accept it to be published.
No.
So, Mr. Speaker, I look at people, I look at people and I just say, is it lack of, content or lack of strategy? What is happening with the current opposition in the country? Because, Mr. Speaker, they are telling Kenyans that the finance bill wants to tax now bread, it wants to tax tea. That is the finance bill of 2024. The finance bill that is before us now does not have anything of that nature, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I want to say this. If we continue misinforming Kenyans, if we continue disinforming Kenyans, and I don't know whom we can send to them, I think Ndini Nyoro can go and convey this message on my behalf to them, Mr. Speaker. Sometimes he interacts with them, but I don't know at what length, Mr. Speaker, because I'm told he also is very soon becoming a party leader in this country. So I think they can have bilateral discussion at that level. Mr. Speaker, I want to urge my colleagues, my fellow leaders, that please, before you misinform Kenyans, before you disinform Kenyans, take time to read. And if you have no time to read, please ask your staff, ask your researchers to read it for you, the finance bill, before you communicate or you speak to Kenyans at any level. Mr. Speaker, some of the issues that are being discussed today in this country concerning the finance bill are issues you can see that are meant purely for incitement, nothing else. The end game is to incite Kenyans so that Kenyans can rise up and fight each other, Mr. Speaker. Otherwise, there is no reason why a leader of the caliber of some of them senior councils, Mr. Speaker, I saw senior counsel Paul Mwite tweeting, saying that all freehold land titles will be changed to leases. I was shocked. He was a member of parliament for many years, for many terms, many years, chairman of the Law Society of Kenya. He is the last person who should speak about that with that level of, do I call it ignorance, or for lack of better word, just say that for misinformation. Mr. Speaker, let us not misinform Kenyans. Let us not incite Kenyans. Let us not tell Kenyans falsehood so that they can be used politically as pawns, Mr. Speaker. That's what's happening in this country. Let Parliament communicate now officially to Kenyans what the finance bill contains, and Kenyans will understand. And I've gone through the finance bill. Nothing at all is offensive to Kenyans in this finance bill. It is making the lives of Kenyans even better. I have here the finance bill. I've gone through it, Mr. Speaker. Everything that contains this finance bill is making tax payments easier, more predictable, Mr. Speaker, for the people who are financing these small taxpayers are the big, large taxpayers who want to hide behind these small taxpayers, who don't want to pay their taxes. So, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I want to say there's a group that has decided there's nothing else we can speak now. There's nothing to tell Kenyans. The only thing to do now is to incite Kenyans using the 2024 finance bill. My friends, tunangojea nyinyi. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Morogara, Chair Jailak.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Allow me kindly to say one or two things.
No, I've given you an opportunity to table a document.
Only.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would have loved to tell these Kenyans that we should emulate John Badi, the CS. He was in Jivaji this morning speaking to Kenyans in the grassroots.
I saw it.
Let us take time. Let all leaders, including CSs, some of whom I must term as lazy, go out there and explain what is in the finance bill. Let us not just sit here, then the people are misinformed, they are lied to, and they will just swallow that lie, that misinformation. It's called line, hook, and sinker. One of them comes first. But that is how we are supposed to move. Let's inform Kenyans they actually know what is in the finance bill, which is just about to be debated. Honorable Speaker, with your very kind permission, allow me to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 26th May 2026. Report of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs on its consideration of the Kenya Judiciary Academy Bill, National Assembly Bill number 42 of 2025. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Morogara. Chair, Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign. Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Defense and Foreign Relations. Caleb, you are the one holding brief?
Yes, I'm holding brief for the chairperson, Departmental Committee on Defense.
Go ahead.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 26 May 2026. Report of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations on the approval hearing of Mr. Humphrey Mulongo Watanga, EBS, for appointment of the High Commissioner to Ottawa, Canada.
Before we call the next order, honorable members, allow me to acknowledge the following institutions in the public gallery. St. Joseph's Boys Kimilili from Kimilili constituency, Bungoma. Siunji Secondary School from Mwingi Central, Kitui. AIC Chebisas Girls School from Aldai, Nandi. Mutonguni Boys Senior from Kitui West, Kitui. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome the students to the House of Parliament. Next.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Caleb Amisi. On behalf of the chairperson, the Committee on Defense,
Yes.
Intelligence and Foreign.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to give notice of the following motion, that taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations in its report on the approval hearing of a nominee for appointment as High Commissioner to Ottawa, Canada, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 26 May 2026, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 132(2)(e) of the Constitution, Section 22 of the Foreign Service Act, Cap 185(e), under Sections 3 and Sections 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F, this House approves the appointment of Mr. Humphrey Mulongo Watanga, EBS, as High Commissioner to Ottawa, Canada.
Thank you. GK, Chair, Roads and Transport.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the standing order number 33-1, I rise to give notice of a motion seeking the adjournment of the House to discuss a definite matter of urgent national importance, namely the rising fuel prices and the attendant repercussions on the transport sector and the cost of living in this country. Aware that the sustained increase in fuel prices has resulted in higher public transport fares, increased cost of goods and services, and mounting pressure on households and businesses across the Republic, concerned that the transport sector, which is a critical enabler of economic activity, continues to bear the greatest burden of escalating fuel price cost, and recognizing the urgent need for policy interventions to cushion wananchi and stabilize the economy, I request that this House adjourns its normal business to deliberate on this matter of immense national concern. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Those who support that motion. The support is overwhelming. You may take your seats. Now, GK, I'll give you an opportunity to move your motion at 4:15 or at the end of order number 15, whichever comes earlier. Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Next. We have no questions and statements. Go on. Yeah. Lea Sangaira, I had approved a statement for you. You'll do it on Thursday. Order, members on their feet, take your seats. Caleb, take your seat. Members on their feet, take your seats. Members, allow me to inform the House of the passing on of Mzee Patrick Wangamati Kimingichi, who was a member of this House in the 11th Parliament. Mzee Wangamati was nominated to this House by the Ford Kenya Party. He served in this House, I think he was the oldest member of the House at the time. He passed on last week. And on my behalf and on behalf of the House, he served. He served in the Agriculture Committee and was very active. He is distinguished as the first mayor of Webuye Municipality, and he was also a very active member of various organizations, including being the chairperson of the Luhya Council of Elders. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, we send our collective condolences to the family, and may I request us to be upstanding to observe a minute's silence. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Amen. Next order.
Order number 8, procedural motion, reduction of publication period for specified bills.
Majority Leader. Hold on, Majority. Yes, Tongoyo.
Honorable Speaker, because I have seen as we have jumped order number 7 on the question and statements, I think it's slated the statement from a member to Kana.
There are no statements listed today.
Okay.
It will be listed for Thursday.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yes. You had a response? Yes. You'll do so on Thursday. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to move that pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 120, this House resolves to reduce the publication period of the following priority bills from 14 days to 6 days. One is the Central Bank of Kenya Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 27 of 2026, and 2, the Kenya Revenue Authority Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 28 of 2026. Honorable Speaker, these are just procedural motions, reducing the publication time, as I said, from 14 to 6 days. Therefore, urge members to support this procedural motion. And I beg to move and request the Leader of Minority, the Honorable Junet Mohammed, to second.
Junet.
Mr. Speaker, I second.
Irene Mayaka, take your seat. Member Waitan, take your seat. Honorable members, I now propose the question at order number 8, which is that pursuant the provisions of Standing Order 120, this House resolves to reduce the publication period of the following priority bills from 14 days to 6 days. 1, the Central Bank of Kenya Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 27 of 2026, and 2, the Kenya Revenue Authority Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 28 of 2026. Do I put the question? Honorable members, I now put the question at order number 8, which is that pursuant the provisions of Standing Order 120, this House resolves to reduce the publication period of the following priority bills from 14 days to 6 days. 1, the Central Bank of Kenya Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 27 of 2026, and 2, the Kenya Revenue Authority Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 28 of 2026. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next.
Order number 9, motion, report on public petition number 21 of 2025 regarding access to healthcare by cancer patients in the country. Mover to reply.
The chairman of health, I don't see on the Wanyikal where he normally sits. Is he sitting elsewhere in the House? Is there any member of the committee that has been tasked to reply? You are not ready to reply, Martin? Or you have no authority to reply? We'll defer the matter to Thursday. Next order.
Order number 10, the Business Laws Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 51 of 2024, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to various laws and for connected purposes.
Next.
Order number 11, the Quantity Surveyors Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2026, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the establishment of the Institute of Quality Surveyors of Kenya, to regulate the practice of quantity surveying, to provide for the registration and licensing of quantity surveyors, to establish a council for the institute, to provide for discipline, standards, professional conduct, and accreditation, and for connected purposes.
Next.
Order number 12, the Finance Bill, National Assembly Bill number 26 of 2026, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the laws relating to various taxes and duties and for matters incidental thereto.
Next.
Order number 13, the Central Bank of Kenya Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 27 of 2026, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Central Bank of Kenya Act and for connected purposes.
I've been advised that we stay order number 14 for some corrections on the proposed bill. So next, go to number 15.
Order number 15, motion, consideration of Senate amendments to the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2026.
Chairperson, Budget and Appropriations Committee. Majority Leader, are you seized of the matter?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move.
Honorable members, as the Majority Leader moves the motion at order number 15, which has a direct consequence on order number 16, if it is the potential decision of the House not to agree with the amendments of the Senate to the Division of Revenue Bill, then we need not go to committee. We will then have to truncate the motion and direct the Majority Leader to liaise with his counterpart to initiate a mediation process. Majority, you may proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Senate amendments to the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2026, be now considered. Honorable Speaker, consequent to the committee report that I just tabled on behalf of the Chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, the Senate amendments basically are doing two things, Honorable Speaker. One, they had sought to factor in, or rather the bill as passed by both houses did not factor in some almost 9 billion shillings, some 8.94 billion, that was to transition the universal health care workers into permanent and pensionable terms as proposed by the Commission on Revenue Allocation and the Council of Governors as equitable share. And this, Honorable Speaker, has since been factored in the annual estimates as part of the shareable revenue, or rather as part of the estimates for the State Department for Medical Services as a conditional transfer to county governments. Therefore, the Senate also did not take care of that, Honorable Speaker. And you know, these healthcare workers under UHC have been promised to be converted into permanent and pensionable staff. And therefore, we must fulfill that promise, Honorable Speaker, and that is why it has already been catered for under the annual estimates. But they sought to introduce a new clause 5, Honorable Speaker, that sought to protect any shortfall in revenue in the course of a financial year and say that that will be borne, or the national government will bear any shortfalls in revenue in the course of the year if revenue collection underperformed. Honorable Speaker, the committee does not agree, the Committee on Budget and Appropriations does not agree with the Senate on this particular issue because they say any downward adjustment in the national government budget as a result of such a shortfall will then occasion occasion additional borrowing to finance that gap. Or even, Honorable Speaker, we may need to increase taxes to be able to finance such a gap, Honorable Speaker. And as you know, Kenyans are not very keen on any additional taxation measures. True, Honorable Speaker, and more fundamentally, the Senate proposed to increase the shareable revenue from what is provided for in the estimates of a figure of 420 billion to 454.74 billion. And therefore, they're increasing the shareable revenue by a further 34.74 billion. And this, Honorable Speaker, they propose that this shareable revenue, being increased as part of the equitable share for county governments, be deducted from the national government share of shareable revenue. What that means, Honorable Speaker, for the benefit of the member for Kisii, Honorable Donya, and the member from Meru, the Honorable Dorothy Kiara, for your benefit, what this means is that if 34 billion shillings is to be deducted from the national government share of shareable revenue, even Honorable Osoro and Honorable Millie Odhiambo will lose. Because it will mean you have either to reduce your NGCDF, your NGAF.
Majority Leader, that's a clever way of calling members to order.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, because I could hardly hear myself. You know, when Osoro speaks to Millie and Osoro speaks in a very animated manner, you get distracted. So I was calling them to order. But also to inform them that if we were to agree with the Senate, it would mean then that we reduce the amount of school capitation money that is going to pay school capitation to children. It would mean that the 9 billion shillings, the 8.94 billion shillings, that is being appropriated to take care of healthcare workers under UHC, then has to take a cut. Because if you increase the shareable revenue going to the counties by almost 35 billion, something somewhere has to give in. The Senate has proposed that the national government gives in. The national government share of revenue is what NGCDF shares from. It is what NGAF shares from. It is what the Ministry of Education shares from, to be able to have capitation in schools as children open schools, as happened this time. It is what we will give to the UHC workers. It is what will take care of the completion of projects. And honorable members, I was drawing your attention because remember, this is your last substantive budget in this parliament, this budget. Because the next budget that we will do in March, April next year will be implemented from 1st of July when you'll be out there campaigning. So if you have projects that you want to complete under the national government, this is the budget to complete. And I think I have communicated effectively in terms of what you want to do with these Senate amendments. And therefore, it is a proposal of the Budget and Appropriations Committee that we decline these amendments by the Senate to allow us to go into mediation and agree with our counterparts in the Senate that it would not be fair to reduce the national government share by 35 billion shillings. Then in the same spirit say, in case there is any shortfall in revenue, it is only the national government that can bear that shortfall in revenue. Honorable Speaker, we are living in very uncertain times. 6 months ago, we didn't know that there will be a war in the Gulf region. We never knew or imagined that anybody could close down the Strait of Hormuz, and we assumed things would move on normally. Today, we are confronted with a global crisis around the Strait of Hormuz and the war in the Middle East. The disruption that it comes with, Honorable Speaker, in terms of the trade routes in and out of the Middle East and connecting to other destinations in Europe, in Asia, the ramifications will be felt not just now, but even over the next many months, Honorable Speaker. And we do not know when this war will end. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, when we talk of a possible shortfall in revenue projections, it is a possibility. And if we say that that shortfall can only the national government can bear that possible shortfall, then it means in a few months down the line, we'll have a supplementary budget cutting more of the national government share and what we have budgeted to expend in the course of this financial year, Honorable Speaker. These are no ordinary times, Honorable Speaker, and these times call for leadership. And I speak about leadership, Honorable Speaker, I say that bearing in mind what the Honorable Junet was saying here. That if you are a true leader, if you desire to lead Kenya as a nation, as a president, if you have served in this house as a member of parliament for 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, you know what to do in times of crisis. Honorable Speaker, when we had the COVID pandemic 6 years or so ago, we all came together as a nation and took some very painful but necessary measures. We are confronted with such a time, Honorable Speaker, again, where we have to take painful measures, and I hope we have that opportunity when we debate the motion by the Honorable GK. Let me not get into that. But I really want to urge the House to agree with the Budget and Appropriations Committee that we decline the amendments by the Senate to allow the two houses time, together with the Council of Governors and CRA and the National Treasury, time to go through a process of mediation and finish with this bill as quickly as we can, because as you know, we cannot even be able to finish with the appropriation bill without finalizing with this. So the earlier we go into mediation, the better. With that, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move, and I want to request the Leader of Minority to second this proposal, Honorable Speaker, by the Budget and Appropriations Committee. I beg to move.
Mr. Speaker, I stand to second. And Mr. Speaker, I agree with the majority leader that we are at difficult times, because 6 months ago, as he said, no one knew that the world will turn to what it is today. And it was unforeseen, because that time we thought that things will be normal, there will be no war in the Middle East, the Strait of Hormuz will not be closed, and life will be as good as it were. But now that we are in a difficult time, the Speaker, so it is prudent upon us to show leadership. And as you know, mediation is provided for in our standing orders. So, Mr. Speaker, there is no harm in having a mediation on this matter, so that the Senate and the National Assembly could sit and analyze this matter deeper, so that we look at the issues holistically and we look at the issues in accordance with what is happening in the world today, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, because of what's happening in the world today, the government had to do extra measures to cushion Kenyans from the excesses that has happened in terms of fuel prices. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with the majority leader that we take this matter to mediation, so that we come up with an informed and a better and more in-depth decision than we took at the beginning of the year when we were doing, in the last session when we were doing the division of revenue bill. So with those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I second, and I urge members to support that, so that the mediation process also could be expedited, so that a report could be tabled in the houses as fast as possible, Mr. Speaker.
Members on their feet, take your seats. Kuroria, take your seat. Honorable members, I now propose the question at order number 15, which is that the Senate amendments to the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2026, be now considered. I see Ndindi Nyoro wants to speak.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this chance. And Honorable Speaker, I call upon all of us as members in the National Assembly, because clearly this issue is headed for mediation, that it is important that we also be considerate as the members of the National Assembly to also our county governments. Honorable Speaker, there is a rise in terms of the revenues of Kenya from last financial year to this current financial year, nominally to around 8 to 10% in terms of those revenues. Honorable Speaker, also in terms of the cumulative budget, we will now be considering a budget of around 4.8 trillion Kenya shillings, a figure we have never considered in this House before. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, my call is that we must support devolution and be seen to actually support it. Because we have actually maintained the same amount we gave to our county governments, the shareable revenue of 420 billion Kenya shillings. Honorable Speaker, we are proposing to sustain the same. And I don't think that is fair, Honorable Speaker, and especially given that the inflationary pressures alone, we will be talking at around maybe over 5%, Honorable Speaker. It is important, Honorable Speaker, that as we consider these kind of matters, let us not personalize. When we personalize that we are giving this money to specific governors, we are likely, Honorable Speaker, to be subjective.
Yes, there's a point of order.
First, we have not yet even voted whether we are sending this matter to a mediation or not. You have not put the question yet. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I want to inform the House that it is this House that in the last financial year that increased revenue shareable revenue of the counties from 385 billion to 415 billion shillings, Mr. Speaker. It's on record, Mr. Speaker. We are the owners of devolution. We know how devolution works, and we want to support devolution. So that is why, we want to send, because it is the Senate that has given this figure. It's not the National Assembly. They have said that they want to increase this revenue to 454 billion. It doesn't mean that we have to agree with them in totality. We can decrease or we can increase in accordance with what is possible. But Mr. Speaker, let us not also use this as a political, let us not politicize this process. Yes, the majority leader can inform you as a distinguished former chair of the budget committee, not the one we removed.
Honorable Speaker, I wanted to inform the Honorable Junet that indeed the former chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, the Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, stood in his place in this House when we were passing the shareable revenue last year and pretended that this is not the only amount that we are taking to the counties. And if I remember well, Honorable Ndindi Nyoro was speaking about a figure of 476 billion. It's in the Hansard. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, in the same spirit, using Honorable Ndindi Nyoro's words, I had just said when I was moving, there is some 8.94 billion that had been left out in the bill by both houses. And therefore, 420, the Honorable Ndindi Nyoro is simply being intellectually dishonest because he knows. And there is no more dangerous thing than when those who ought to know better seek to misinform the country for political gain, Honorable Speaker. Because the Honorable Ndindi Nyoro knows that 420 billion, as proposed, is not the only money that goes to counties. Two, Honorable Speaker, to remind Honorable Junet and to inform him that when we sat with him under the broad-based government arrangement, part of the 10-point agenda is to progressively move the shareable revenue to even beyond 450 billion. And we are on course, and we are working on that, Honorable Speaker. But we must also be reasonable as leaders, and that's why I said, Honorable Speaker, earlier, that this is such a time that calls for leadership, not political posturing. The easiest thing to do is to posture politically. That is why, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Ndindi Nyoro will purport to be writing to you to recall the House when he knows he cannot recall even the Murang'a County Assembly, leave alone the National Assembly. And it is good in the clerk's advice to the Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, he informed him that even if you were to recall the House, Honorable Speaker, this House ideally would have sat today. Looking at the dates when he wrote the letter, if you are the leader of majority or the leader of minority, was it to recall the House would have sat today, the same day we are supposed to resume business. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I don't want to call my brother dishonest, but political posturing is a very dangerous thing at a
Point
time when
made.
the nation calls for leadership.
Dindi? Oh. Then wind up your point of order.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, first I want to wind up by thanking the former chair of budget and the majority leader, Kachini. The majority leader for informing me, Mr. Speaker, properly on issues that I think are important. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I want to say that Honorable Ndindi Nyoro is talking about governors. We are not discussing here governors, which governor is going to get what and what. That will come in the other, in Dora. The one that is
In
Kara,
Kara.
the one that is coming from the Senate. Mr. Speaker, as the majority leader has affirmed here, we are on course as the broad-based government because we have increased the shareable revenue from 318 to 415.
Order, Irene Mayaka, what you have done is not right. Go on.
Speaker, the covenant agreement between us in the broad-based government, that is one of them is to strengthen devolution. And Mr. Speaker, that is why in the last financial year we increased it by a whooping 30 billion shillings, Mr. Speaker, in one financial year. And as the majority has said, 420, what is being proposed now, is not the only money that is going to counties. We are going to make the staff, the workers who have been working for the counties now, permanent and pensionable in the new budget, Mr. Speaker. It's going to cost the government 9 billion again. There are conditional grants that are going to go to the counties, Mr. Speaker. In total, counties will get close to 500 billion shillings. Mr. Speaker, let Ndindi Nyoro not posture politically. Let him wait for the mediation to happen.
Okay, point made. Ndindi Nyoro.
Honorable Speaker, I actually never needed to be informed and actually have no time for those frivolities and filibustering. And Honorable Speaker, it is important because they have brought up, even as I go to the conclusion, about bringing some frivolities about who needed to call what and write which letter to the Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we need to be honest to the Kenyan people, face them honestly. Honorable Speaker, we now have a situation in this country where the government joined opposition and the opposition joined government, Honorable Speaker. That even as we listen here, the majority side and the minority side leadership, Honorable Speaker, are required singing the same song, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, in such a house of debate, there must be alternative voices, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we are lying to ourselves, Honorable Speaker, and to the Kenyan people, that in this house there is a minority side and the majority side. There is none, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker,
Yes.
as the House...
KJ. KJ.
Mr. Speaker, at the beginning of this session, you did do a communication to the House. And for the Honorable Member for Kiharu to call what the process is frivolity is in fact an insult to the House, an insult to yourself, an insult to the rules and procedures of this House, Mr. Speaker. There is no way the rules of this House can be frivolities, and I think it would be in order for my good friend, Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, to at least respect the House, if not the people in the House, by withdrawing what he has said, because these cannot be frivolities, Mr. Speaker.
Ndindi, will you wind up?
Honorable Speaker, going back to the debate, I just call upon all of us, Honorable Speaker, to be honest to ourselves. We need our county governments to provision healthcare services. We need, Honorable Speaker, our county governments to provision all the devolved functions and give quality service to the same people we represent. Honorable Speaker, this cannot be done through politics. When we talk about some substantive issues about money, Honorable Speaker, this is not about politics. And even if it's about politics and the Kenyan people benefit, so be it. Honorable Speaker, my take is this. There is 420 billion Kenya shillings on the table. And I needed no information from anyone to tell me that you'll also be debating the debate about conditional grants. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the motion on the table. And the motion is about shareable revenue. that we are sitting here, we have seen a climb in terms of an increase of budget in entirety. We are reading now a budget of 4.8 trillion Kenya shillings. But we come to this house and we want our county government to still get the same money they got last year in a situation where inflationary pressures alone have taken real money out of their pockets, Honorable Speaker. We must debate on, respectively, Honorable Speaker, that yes, as we propose the 420 billion Kenya shillings, that even the Senate is entitled to ask for the 34 billion Kenya shillings. We must meet somewhere, Honorable Speaker, because this is not about that specific governor. It is about the Kenyan people. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, this I had advised the House that seeing what I see, this matter is headed to mediation. And if it is, that's what resolves the divergence of opinions between the two houses. And that being the case, you have an opportunity to deal with the mediated version when it comes. And this being the case also, once we pass this, order number 16 will collapse. So do we really need to flog this?
As I reply, Honorable Speaker, it is good to indicate, as you have rightly put it, that what is being said here is premature. And the leader of minority had aptly captured it. Because, Honorable Speaker, the 420 billion is what has been proposed. The mediation process is a give and take process. Doesn't mean that that is the end of it. The mediation process is when we come as leaders and agree that it is possible to increase from 420